What's up?
Okay, just waking up.
It's been a long like week and a half, 2 week sleep we've had there, Manny.
Yeah, I mean we've both had our ailments for the ironically.
Yeah, Christine was bad like 3 weeks ago. I ended up with a hemorrhoid, ladies and gentlemen. That's where I was last week and still uh trying to take it easy for the next few days. Manny decided to catch flu or something like that. Yeah, it's been fun. So,
Hmm.
and even better news. We're only going to get 2 episodes out this week, if that, because Wednesday and Thursday, I as my cat. What are you doing back there? Look at her. The hell, Keone. Wednesday and Thursday, I have medical appointments. I had one yesterday as well, which is why we didn't have this show going on too. So yeah, it is what it is. But we're here today. We got some stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the daily cup of genre here on the Genreverse Podcast Network and Genreverse YouTube channel. Please do give us a follow, a like, and comment there on the podcast network, whatever app you listen to us on. And of course, subscribe on the YouTube channel if you're watching us on there. We cover everything you can imagine in entertainment. And the channel also covers things in Star Wars with the Cantina, and anime with AVR Squared, and Breaking Geek Radio is kind of like us, but long form and only once a week, and much different opinions. So you guys don't have to worry about getting locked into some sort of ecosystem or echo chamber here. I'm Kyle, that's Manny, and the orange kitty cat that you see sometimes walking across me is Keone. Dude, how you been, man? I don't want to just jump right into business, but I want to catch up for a minute. How you been, man? You're muted.
Yeah, dude, I got the flu.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, that was not fun at all. So I was so kind of the same time that you were down dealing with your stuff, I was down dealing with my stuff. So it was not it was not fun, but you know, it is what it is. That's life sometimes, and I just deal with it and move on. But um, yeah, Royal Rumble was this weekend. That was awesome.
You enjoyed the Rumble?
Yeah, as I per usually do. This year, actually, a lot, very, very solid show. And so now it's the road to WrestleMania.
Here we go again.
Yep.
And I heard Hogan. I read some comment from Kurt Angle last night that Hogan's like using a cane, man. Like he's in a bad spot. The most recent bad back surgery burned a lot of nerve endings, which I think is what it was intended to do, but it's left him like struggling a bit.
Well, he was
69 years old?
he was at Raw last week, and he didn't use a cane. So that was
They
only
said
for
he
a few
didn't
minutes.
walk to the
No, but
to the
like
stage.
he
He
hasn't.
just stayed up on the stage.
Yeah, but like the last few times that he's actually been on a show for whatever reason, that's all he's done. Period. Anyway, so
That might explain limiting it. I don't think Angle would be one to embellish at all on
no,
the rest.
no, it might be true. Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, man. Wrestling's cool. I didn't do too much. I watched, of course, some anime, played some video games. I realized how little I play console games because I was stuck there on the first world problem dealing with what I had. I had to sit on my recliner endlessly, and I know a lot of people would be like, "Man, that sounds like a dream," but I hate being stuck in a chair.
mm-hmm.
But we watched The Last of Us. I think the last time you and I had talked, you had seen the first
Yeah,
episode. Christine and I hadn't. She wasn't so hot on the first episode. Second episode, she dug a lot. This week's episode, she dug a lot. I've enjoyed it all relatively the same throughout.
mm-hmm.
Neither one of us have played the game. I knew a few things, like I knew about Ellie. I knew about his daughter in the beginning, and I knew about Tess, and that's about all I knew from the game. So It's been a pretty good show. What'd you think of last week's or this week's episode?
This episode was I did not expect that at all. Yeah, Bill and Frank are just kind of cool characters that I was just excited to get to know, because when you play the game, you just kind of go into this town, right? And it's all booby trapped and everything.
Mhm.
So it's a survivalist. You never see Frank. You just hear about him. And
Yeah.
there's little hints that they were, partners, lovers, whatever you want to call them. But you never see it. There's
Mhm.
just little moments where you're just like, oh, okay, I get it. They're probably, but it's never confirmed, so you never really know.
Yeah.
And the kind of the deviation this week, man, just great writing. Nick Offerman was crazy good. I mean, like, I don't like, as far as an adaptation, like, I don't know what else you want. It does it deviate from the actual story? Absolutely. But who cares, because you already played the game. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to watch that story specifically, go play the game. What's important here is that it's faithful to the characters and to the overall theme of the game, but it's gonna have a little bit more time to breathe. You're gonna have live actors who are able to emote things, emotions, and things like that, and so use them, and because of that, you're able to deliver kind of this really cool piece of humanity that's left in that was left in that world, and kind of continue to establish little by little a little bit more hope, and in the end also kind of continue to build this relationship between Ellie and Joel.
Mhm.
And so I mean, like, I just well done. I applaud the writers and the co-creators, because I mean, one of them obviously wrote the game,
Mhm.
and to be able to say, to be able to go into your own property and just kind of be like, this is the kind of story I want to tell now with these characters, and then for it to come out like that, I mean, it's one of the best video games adaptations I've ever seen so far. It's it's funny because I keep rating it by week, and so like this week I'm like 3 for 3. I mean, like, I don't so
Yeah.
now now let's see what happens, because the thing is, you keep delivering all these great episodes. I mean, can you keep that momentum up? That's really hard to do.
Hard to do, man.
And,
Last thing we saw that really, in our opinion, kept up the quality on the live action side would probably be Peacemaker. That was a solid show throughout. I don't remember having a week of Peacemaker where I was like, I could have left that one.
Also, I just want to know how much money they spent on these goddamn sets. I mean, like,
I don't know. It's quite extensive.
Yeah.
A lot of good practical setup, and when they do use the giant blue and green screens for, the skyline of Boston with fallen buildings and stuff, they do it with such proper distance and scaling,
and shadowing,
that it doesn't really like, you can tell, but you can just tell. It's not like looking at a background on the Star Wars prequels or Obi-Wan Kenobi for that matter. This is pretty good. Judicious use of blue green screen chroma keying, if you will.
Pedro, go ahead. Sorry,
I was just gonna say that I had been, because I had saw some of the online comments before we watched the episode. No spoilers, just people complaining, hey, they deviated. And so when I watched it, I got the context of what people are saying. And I could see where some were like, oh, we missed out on interactions between Bill and Ellie, like in the present. I could kind of see that, but I also see that this told a really cool story, made a really good connection with Joel with the flashback, and then of course the beginning and end of the episodes of the episode. I haven't played the game, so I don't know how great. It would have been funny to watch Nick Offerman and Bella Ramsey riff off of each other. That would have been cool, but I don't know what I'm missing, I guess is what I'm saying. So I'm cool very cool with
like,
how it went.
It's not that big of a like, yeah, like they have some like kind of funny interactions, but like it doesn't add anything.
Yeah,
You know,
this adds something.
It's just another level of the game, really, because you don't have enough time to really develop a Bill's character. He's just a crazy guy who has supplies, and he's booby trapped the entire city. So now you have to be careful when you walk around and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, there's this one point where right before you meet Bill, you're killing people while you're hanging upside down because you fell into a big ass booby trap. So I just this way, like you were like exactly what you were saying, this way you get a better understanding of Bill and Frank, which you never got. And then also you're able to see his relationship. You're able to see how long Tess and Joel were together.
Yep.
And then you're able to, through that letter at the end, to get that the sense of what the hope is and why it's important that they that he continues to fight to try and build this relationship with Ellie. I won't just call her by her real name. And then like it leaves you with the window scene, and it's like that's a big part of it too. So I mean, it's faithful to the theme of the overall story, the game. And I mean, I don't know what else you can want. If you just want it play by play, go watch the cutscenes, go play the game.
And I remember being kind of wanting that as a comic book movie fan early on. Like, I was like, man, they really need to do like panel for panel when Civil War had, not when the movie had actually been announced, but even before then. Like, if they go that route, it should be panel for panel. I can't wait to see Spider-Man unmasked, because surely they'll get the rights by then, right? And then I just realized how boring page for page, panel for panel adaptations would be. That there's moments that you can adapt, especially in live action, to increase the awesomeness. You think of that first Avengers, 360 shot from the first film. It's iconic. It felt like a comic book panel, and it played so well cinematically. But you didn't have to copy something specific to get there. Avengers Endgame and Infinity War both did really good jobs at adapting a lot of the Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity Saga books. Yeah, man, I get it. You don't have to do, so long as it's kind of like what we say in the army about rules and regulations. You can add to, but you can't take away from. So as long as what you are adding to the show doesn't take away from what the source material is and did, you're usually good to go. You can add some stuff here and there. You can't take out anything of substance, and whatever you add can't hurt the substance of the original. And like I said, from the sounds of it, we missed out on some potential comedy between Ellie and Bill.
Barely.
But you got a whole lot more in the process. So from my point of view, not playing the game, I enjoyed it. I don't feel like I wanted to have to be a different way. And from someone that played the game, he's happy too.
Oh yeah,
so.
and now I think there's a higher replay value because now you value Bill so much more. Because you kind of see what he went through. You see kind of the fight that he had to go through. It was I know that I've seen even comments from people who are like, I'm not really comfortable, who aren't really comfortable with homosexuality, who's saying that that with so much media trying to force it down your throat, like LGBTQ stuff, like here it is, love it. I remember like some of my friends, they were upset at like Supergirl because they're like, no, this isn't the representation we wanted, because it's very, very forced and it's kind of and it's kind of insulting to a certain degree, and they make characters, with, you know, be that way because they need the token. They need the token
It's
character.
very stereotypical. It's very checkboxy. Yeah.
And in this case, everything was so like methodically placed to where you understand that this is the way he had been his whole life, and it's also faithful to the game. Like I said, with the little nuggets that were in that you find in the game anyway, that you mean, like, to most degrees you don't care because the story is so much bigger than that. It just happens, and it happens to be that they're just that sexual orientation.
Yeah.
And honestly, like you and I talk about with most things, it shouldn't be, because there shouldn't be a spotlight on it. It should be, this is a story, this is normal.
It should be like when you see two dudes or two chicks holding hands or kissing in public. It's becoming to where you don't even register it anymore. And that's a whole nother can of worms, the price of victory. Not saying that there's a reason to stop fighting for better for everyone, but what has been achieved.
I get the fight though, because there's still areas where
there is still, but what has been achieved means that certain things, like generally just an actor coming out of the closet, it's not going to get the attention it would have 20, 30 years because of progress, and we should be happy about that. But some people make their living off of attention, and so they got to expand and enhance, subgenreize, add and twist and turn to get attention for something that honestly is becoming normalized. And I keep telling people, always want to use that word, you need things normalized. Well, guess what? When it's normalized, that generally means no one's paying attention to it anymore, and that's a good thing. And again, that's not saying that LGBT whatever plus goes in there somewhere, or other minorities, black, Hispanic, whatever. It doesn't mean that there is no more fight. Doesn't mean that there's still not loads of progress to go for all sorts of groups. All it means is celebrate your victories, man. Like do celebrate the victories. And when things become normal and they're not getting the attention they used to, generally that's a good thing, so long as the current situation is equal on equal footing. So yeah. Anyways, I only had one hot take. And I had to look for this one, but it's there. Was it wrong for Nick Offerman to play a gay guy? I mean, did that not take a role from another gay actor? You could have had two gay act. No, I personally don't care. I personally don't care.
Perfect actor for that. Did you
I
not
just
see
wanted to.
him?
No, I'm fine. Yeah. I'm fine with it. I just wanted to. I'm poking a very specific bear.
I'm gonna fight you because that scene where he's sitting there eating a steak by himself, watching his security cameras. I was like, that's Parks and Rec. Yeah,
it was great. No actual quarrels. We just know that there are. Acting is acting, and anyone that can play the role and they're the best person, they're cast for the role, I'm generally good to go with that. Not everyone believes that, and sometimes they're hypocritical on how they apply that particular thing. I'm fine with it. But anyways.
Perfect episode. I had a kind of a hot take this morning. With the release of the picture, with the images. There's like two images maybe, or I think it's just one and they just cut it up. For the live action One Piece on Netflix, I have come to the conclusion, and also thanks to the help of a very insightful video from Quarter Crew, there will never be a good live action anime adaptation.
No, I don't think so. Not I will say this: there will never be a great one, because I know a lot of people really did like Alita Battle Angel. I personally haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, so I can't tell you about that.
Yeah, Brian, who does AVR with us, he was a fan of the manga, and he did indeed see the movie, and he was a fan of the movie, saying that it was it was good. and there's been a couple of others that have come close. The Rurouni Kenshin, I know I mispronounce it. That's just from years of mispronouncing it before I knew how to properly pronounce it. Samurai X here in the West. Those Japanese adaptations are pretty decent. They're probably the best anime adaptations there are, even though the source material has some controversy because of its author. Or artist, whatever. But yeah, no, I do. I'm sharing the image now, the poster image. That's what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it that Corridor Crew said that kind of made you believe that it won't work? Because I got my own.
Well, because
opinion.
it made me like they really brought up some really good points about when you watch anime, and again it goes to the medium. The medium serves the purpose of storytelling. In video games, we just talked about this versus live action adaptation with The Last of Us, where you're able to do in a video game versus what you're able to do in the, like you're never in a video game gonna want to watch the relationship unfold of two guys, because it's boring. You can't play that, so you have to gloss over that. And so, but in a TV show, it makes drama, it makes emotion, it creates a path for your main characters. But it doesn't work in a video game. In anime, one of the big things is the storytelling. The way you learn about the characters is often through themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Through monologues, through actions, through just slight movements, and it's something that doesn't work on TV and movies. You cannot have a character in live action or in, I mean, it just looks really, really wonky. That's the problem. And animation serves that purpose. Like mid-fight, you're not going to get into somebody's head to see what they're thinking. Do you know what the closest scene is where they actually did it and it actually looked kind of cool? Sherlock Holmes, when he's doing kind of that brute battle, that's a very, very close representation as to, sometimes how anime works as far as thought process within a fight. But if you see too much of that, it doesn't work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's one of the things. Yeah.
You look at some of the things that make anime, like you said, overreactions, getting into people's heads, listening to them freak out. You got a guy and a girl, they're talking, they both like each other, but they're not aware that they both like each other because they're stupid, of course. And you'll go into the girl's head and, oh my God, I wish he would just ask me out already. Why won't he ask me out already? And then you go into the guy's head, and at the time the animation is showing funny faces, their eyes are changing from the normal animation of an episode. There's all sorts of background stuff going on. They may even change their full bodies and their chibi style now. That doesn't go well in live action. That's why they generally, they've tried it in some things, but in general they don't do that. You don't get the characters throwing fits up in the air, but that's what makes those characters who they are throughout these shows, are those really raw emotional moments. And emotional doesn't always mean sad or dramatic. It can be happy and comedic as well. And that's not gonna, because we don't want to see that. It just looks ridiculous. You know, it looks ridiculous if you have live action people doing too much anime stuff. But if it's not anime enough, then it's not what the source material was. If you're not seeing Luffy eating all the time with these big mouthfuls of food, if you're not seeing the ridiculous movements that honestly are not really humanly possible, you're going to use CGI and stuff for the extensions, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the way he's generally just leaping around, sitting, crouching. He's very much like Spider-Man, and American comics are drawn with a little bit more anatomy in mind as far as like movement and stuff. I know a lot of artists will use the figures, the wooden figures and bendable things like that, and there's a plethora of existing models to go with, but it's different. And without all of that excitement, without all of that wonkiness, the craziness that comes with anime, it becomes really, really hard to adapt them. And The funny thing is there are a few styles of anime out there that could be adapted, and those are some of the ones that have no superpowers, that have no supernatural period, no fantasy elements. They're crime based, they're romance based, and they're more serious romance ones. Those ones, things like Your Name, even, which is supposed to be getting a westernized adaptation. Very famous anime movie from Makoto Shinkai in 2016. That one has a relative potential, but you still have to deal with the fact that a boy and a girl switch bodies as part of it. And there's a time thing that plays into it. And the boy, of course, is now in the body of a girl. Well, what is all teenage boys going to do if all of a sudden they had boobs? They're going to touch them. And so you have this very real, because any guy that denies that he would touch his boobs if he woke up with some is a liar. You're going to have to really, you can't really show that, but you have to have some sort of analog. It's going to look weird. It's going to play weird because it's real at that point. And people, regardless of whether or not they'll admit that they'd probably do the same, it's going to be weird on screen, but it's actually an important part of that whole story. Things just don't translate, man. Not everything can. There's going to be little cultural differences that aren't going to play well in Western live action. I don't know. I agree though. Not going to work. Not be great, at least.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like you can get away with like really weird and wacky characters also walking around. I remember talking with Jammer about this when it was first announced. We were at Comic-Con together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like how do you create these how do you make these characters look normal on screen and just kind of just doing normal things, you know? And then because you only have so much of a budget where you can let characters do certain things, and at some point you have to like cut corners where he's just gonna, for a good chunk of time, probably just look like a normal dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to be doing that, you know, those extensive movements like you're saying, and it takes away from the entire fantasy of what One Piece is and what people love about it. Because I mean, I've watched some of it, I've talked to voice actors, and so I've been around it for a while too, so I understand. I did watch the movie, which I enjoyed. I don't like singing in anime. That's just
depends for me.
But just overall, I'm like, and the funny thing is, I'm saying this as a hot take, but a lot of people on social media, a lot of fans are already like, I don't know.
Yeah.
just because of
good to be concerned. Not everything. And what is the Western obsession with making live action stuff? Like you look at the live action Grinch and Cat in the Hat compared to what the animated studios did with Horton and
Jim
the
Carrey
Grinch.
was amazing.
And what was the other one? Horton, the Grinch, and there's
the Lorax.
The Lorax, yeah. All three of those. I mean, who in their right freaking mind looks at Dr. Seuss and thinks live action? Like, it just screams animation.
And it worked in the Grinch, though.
No, it didn't. That was awful.
No, shut up. No, shut your face. No, the Grinch with Jim Carrey.
Benedict Cumberbatch's Grinch is 1,000 times better.
No, screw you, man. No, absolutely not.
1,000 times better. No. Benedict Cumberbatch's animated The Grinch 1,000 times better.
Nah, ladies and gentlemen, Kyle is obviously 0% right. No, the Grinch is fantastic. Jim Carrey as the Grinch is an icon. That's why
performance might be okay, but it's still a crap movie.
That's why they kept that, you know, entire area at Universal Studios open for so long, because it was so bad. It's beloved by hundreds. I mean,
what area? I haven't been to Hollywood's version of the greatest theme park on Earth. What?
They kept that open for a while. The entire Whoville, and it was part of the tour. It was great, dude. Universal Studios stepping up, man. They got Super Mario Land now. And I just feel like there's a lot more noise that they're making lately than they're
Disney.
yeah, because it's something new, it's something fresh,
I love
it's
Universal
different.
Orlando. I do.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I don't even understand how they're able to fit all these things over at Hollywood. They don't have any fucking room.
I know, right?
But yeah, we're
Damn
totally.
it, now I gotta find that F-bomb.
Oh, sorry, my bad. They're totally ready to. I mean, not they are. We are totally ready to, between the three of us, probably, because we're gonna have to take a friend for Emma, to spend $160 on stupid Super Mario bands so that we can enjoy.
Oh yeah.
So that we can enjoy the land. They're $40 each.
Yeah, I know.
And
that's how you do the little puzzles with the
me personally
blocks and stuff.
Of course, I'm getting the Luigi one because everyone knows that in Super Mario Brothers, that in Nintendo, there's no better character than Luigi because he fights ghosts with a vacuum cleaner.
Okay, if that's your bar, should be easy to clear. Actually, now I always like whenever we play games where you can select a character like Mario Kart, I'm always Koopa Troopa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's my guy. And then Lucas, he bounces between if Yoshi is available, he'll use Yoshi, and if not, then he's a Mario guy. So I'll usually end up playing Luigi on the like mainline games. Anyways, nice little segue though there to some Tech Tuesday, if you will, some video game news. IGN reported exclusively yesterday that Xbox, Nintendo, and Sony will not be part of E3's celebration this year. Both shocking and not shocking. Shocking in as much that all three said F off for the first time in 4 years, E3 coming back. And yeah, kind of not shocking because like Disney and Warner Brothers having recently, last few years, withdrawn some of the bigger support for conventions for in favor of their own smaller focused things. The video game companies have been doing the same. Xbox did express, Microsoft and Xbox, I think via through Phil Spector, talked about how they still support E3. It's very important for the industry, but they're gonna do their own thing. They plan to have a showcase sometime around E3. Nintendo and Sony also not showing up. And pretty much it's like, why share the limelight? Why pay money for stuff at E3 to set up at E3 to get time at E3 when you can either have your own smaller event that costs less money on your own and have all the focus be on you. You don't have to share space, share time. Like I said, it makes sense, but it also really kind of sucks, man. How you feeling about it?
Well, the thing is, this is E3's first show back, and there's two things. One, I 100% agree with you. What's the point of sharing the spotlight? In the last few years, the shows have had to do their own presentations.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like DC had to do its own presentation, but they said that they're going to make a commitment to go back to shows.
That's what they've said.
They said, yeah, but I mean, they were at New York, to be fair.
Yes.
And so I don't know if this is just one of those cases where we've already planned out, this year, next year, the following year, and so E3 going, hey, we're back, is just kind of like, all right, cool, but we already have our plans. Could be something like that. Or it could just be like, hey, this on our own thing kind of works, and they want to do it. But I mean, it just really depends. I know it's a cost saving thing because you need to pay all your people on the floors, their production teams. There's so much setup that goes to it.
Graphics, getting graphics made and
special
sets
consoles,
and
and everything. Yeah. It's a really, really big deal. It takes a long time to plan. So I don't know if this is just one of those cases. I know that I think there was Sony had issues with disagreements with Entertainment Software Association.
Mhm.
And I know that Xbox has, I know that they have their own thing, like you said, around the same time. So I just think that it just made a case where it just really didn't work out this year. I know that they had announced this. I think they announced it late last year that they were coming back. Hell, I should know. I wrote the piece, um, and but I'm not sure. With that said, then what? Then what is E3 then? Because if you don't have, it's not like Comic-Con where Marvel and DC don't show up, but you still have every network
Image,
that can show up.
IDW,
Yeah,
Boom. You used to have all the
yeah.
indies, Artists Alley. You're still gonna have smaller.
You have Netflix,
studios.
you have Amazon, you have
Yeah,
Hulu,
yeah.
you have, you know, so there's so much stuff that you fill it
Yeah.
up with. But video games,
if the people you play them on, who now own, minus Nintendo, because their first party thing has always been Nintendo, but now that Sony and Microsoft own or are in the process of purchasing so many other studios, you take those three out of the mix, and yes, there are still other studios, but you have nothing from the people that most people are going to be using to play those games on. You know, I'm a PC gamer, and most things I can, especially if I use Game Pass, I can play almost anything on PC, minus Nintendo games and a few Sony ones, but I've got a PlayStation. So I need at least PlayStation to be there. You know, everything else I'm going to play on computer, but I'm not everyone else. So yeah, it's rough, man. I'm very curious to see what E3 is going to be then, because you're going to have a lot of space to fill. You got to do something. And I just don't know if you have enough time. Well, I mean, they probably planned for it because they probably knew from a long time that they weren't going to be there. It's not like, I'm pretty sure it's not like they were like, I don't know, we might be there. Or it's more of a case like, no, we can't make this work. So all I know is that you'll end up with a Nintendo Direct, you'll end up with whatever Xbox calls them, and you're gonna have a state of play. You're gonna have a PlayStation. I believe that's what they call them, state of play, where it's like their version of Nintendo Direct. Correct me in the comments if I pick the wrong words, but you're gonna have all of those at around the same time, and they're gonna get more buzz, and it is gonna hurt E3, which will hurt the venue and the local economy a bit, which are used to. And I don't mean like it's gonna decimate it this year, but over the long run, if you see continued lack of support from the big guns, you are going to see E3 suffer greatly, which will affect the local economy a bit and temporary jobs. And yeah, man, we're all a lot more connected than you might realize.
Yeah, E3 is not one of the ones I go to anyway, so
I always wanted to. I always wanted to.
It's just that like it's at the wrong time for me, where I'm going to so many other shows.
Yeah.
It's like I don't play video games enough to want to go. Have I been invited? Actually, I've been invited a few times, and it's just like, and this year actually was a year where I could have thought about it to at least go a day, and now it's like, yeah, I'm not going.
It's gonna suck not having the show tomorrow, because allegedly we're supposed to be getting some DCU news today from James Gunn. He did say January a bit ago. Today's the last day in January. I made a joke with Cam, who does the Cantina with us, writer here at LRMonline.com, as well. And I said he's probably going to release this plan at like 9-10 o'clock Eastern time tonight, the last day of January. So we'll end up talking about that on Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get Michael or somebody tomorrow, or maybe if we can do something later today. Hell, if you could do something later today, maybe so we can pre-record on the early evening when I get home. This is really big, man. We gotta get somebody's thoughts on it.
We're gonna try to do something. We'll see.
We'll figure something out. I'll get a puppet if I have to, and I'll give double opinions.
Stay subscribed here and follow us for more. Anything else before we close out, though, Manny?
Yep, Pedro Pascal can only play characters now where he has to transport a child.
All right, guys, check out lrmonline.com every day for all entertainment news, needs, opinions, written reviews, celebrity interviews, and more. Celebrity interviews also go up on the LRM Online YouTube channel. Speaking of YouTube channels, if you're watching us on the Genreverse, hit that red subscribe button. Give us a like or dislike on this video. Let us know why you liked or disliked in the comments. Give us an interaction. We got a lot of great content, a lot of anime content, some Star Wars stuff, some Marvel stuff, some other general geek and pop culture stuff. If it's not a reaction video, it goes up on the all your favorite podcast apps like Spotify, Google, Apple. Look up the Genreverse Podcast Network. That's it. We're done. Any final words, Manny?
No. Drugs are bad. MK.